Welcome to Intuitive Flow. I'm your host, Mikaela Filar, intuitive energetic healer, medium, entrepreneur, and mindset mentor with a mission to help you step into your fullest potential by giving you the tools to rid yourself of limiting beliefs, love yourself unconditionally, and create the reality that you dream of living. It is time to transform your mindset, get unstuck, and step into the highest frequency version of yourself who has unshakable confidence. I am even answering your juiciest questions regarding all things intuition, manifestation, personal development, self-love, self-image, and helping you work through your dilemmas, intuitively guiding you to expand your mindset and level up in life. So turn up the volume and get excited for this intuitive flow. Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to Intuitive Flow with Mikaela Filar. We are continuing our mini series, The Glow Down, and today I'm going to share a little bit of the behind the scenes when it comes to like my business and the energetics behind business and manifestation. So if you're interested in starting your own business, or maybe you have your own business, maybe this can help you either get motivated to get started, maybe see some things that you're maybe doing in your business that aren't serving you, and you can learn from my past mistakes, and then you can shift and move forward in a more aligned direction. So we're just going to get into it today with basically what business was like when I was still in network marketing, what I was doing that didn't fit, and why things felt so sticky and unaligned. Then we're also going to be going over the core like energetic principles that I have built my business on. And yeah, we're just going to kind of see what happens with that. You guys, I don't know if you can tell, but I don't ever really like plan out these episodes. I love to just kind of take some outline like notes, and then we just kind of see where things go. This is proof and permission that not everything needs to be perfect. And I don't think that I would be as far as I am in business had I not have started until everything was perfect. I feel like so many people don't start because it's not perfect or it's not the right time or whatever. And the thing is like it's never going to be perfect. There's no such thing as perfection. If you're always looking for something that's quote unquote wrong with something, you're always going to find something that's wrong, right? It's the universal law of focus. It's just is what it is. And then also, if you are waiting for the perfect time, like there's no such thing as the perfect time. It's just like waiting for the perfect time to start your diet or your new lifestyle, right? We've got basically a holiday every month, or a birthday, or a party, or some sort of celebration, right? There's always going to be excuses. There's always going to be opportunities for you to say, oh, I'll start later. Just fucking start. Put your excuses aside. You have what it takes. You would not have that desire on your heart if you didn't have what it takes. God, source, universe wouldn't do that to you. So if you want to do something, just start. It doesn't need to be perfect. There's no such thing as the perfect time. Just do what you got to do. Get a plan, a rough draft, and start one foot in front of the other, one step after the next. I know it's simple. It's not easy, but it is simple, right? I actually was just like thinking about entrepreneurship, and I recently listened to a podcast episode that was called The Truth About Building a $1 billion business, and it was with Ed Milet. And I don't remember the guy's name. I think he's the owner or the CEO of First Form, that like supplement company. But they were talking, they were just having a conversation about like what it's like to be an entrepreneur. And you guys, like entrepreneurship, I feel like there was something I got out of this, and it was so fucking valid with like everything that's being pushed online right now is like, oh, here's here's life as an entrepreneur, and you just see a bunch of like shiny shit and there's not a lot of entrepreneurs that are sharing the hard behind the scenes. And so today I kind of want to share like the hard parts and the good parts, right? And what I had to do to shift out of the hard parts. And it's not always fucking rainbows and butterflies when you're an entrepreneur. It's not easy work. It's a constant, especially, I mean, I didn't get to this point, but like I know that the team that I'm joining, Team Allie, like Allie has created a business to where it's like she's got a whole team of people underneath her that she's paying, right? Which is so crazy and such a big responsibility, because you're not just responsible for yourself anymore. You're responsible for other people and their families and their well-being as far as like their finances go, right? And like, if your business doesn't do as well, then like they don't do as well. And that's a lot of pressure. And I never got to that point of where I had like a full team underneath me, obviously. However, I know what it's like to like have that responsibility of like of everything being on you, and of being in charge of your own, how much money you make per month and all that jazz. And just know that like entrepreneurship, as much as some coaches say that like it's for everyone, it's not, because it takes a lot of dedication. It takes commitment. It takes getting uncomfortable. It takes doing what you say you're going to fucking do. It takes so much work, and it's not easy. So if this is something like a path that you want to go down, like ask yourself, what's your vision? Because the only reason that I even got as far as I have is because I had like this bigger picture vision. Okay. And that vision continues to grow and get bigger and bigger. And I am super excited about like what's to come. But the only reason I am even where I'm at right now is because I held on to that vision, and because it didn't give, I almost gave up. I almost gave up multiple times, but I didn't, because I physically can't, like, I cannot picture myself ever going back to like a 9 to 5 where I'm glued to a desk in a cubicle or whatever. Like, no, I had a job when I was in high school. I think it was in high school, and I worked at like a desk for an insurance company for like 3 hours, maybe a day, for like 3 days a week. And I got fired, and the boss called me lethargic, which is so funny, but it's because I was so unaligned, which we're going to talk about that too. How to know if you are unaligned in what you're doing, which you probably already know if you're listening to this. You probably are intuitive. You probably are an empath, and you probably already know if you are or are not aligned in what you're doing. Anyways, I digress. Ship can be very challenging, and it takes a lot of work, and it takes a lot of commitment and dedication, and it's not for everybody. But if it is for you, then so is this episode. People always ask me, my clients ask me, how I built my business, and when I started doing one-on-one sessions for money, and when I started to create programs. And the truth is I just started, like, I started learning about this work at the end of 2022, and I was doing a lot of self-image, like trauma healing, a lot of self-love work, focusing on myself. And then it wasn't until 2023, like February of 2023, that I got into like intuition training and honing in on my intuitive gifts. And during that time, like, I think I was maybe 6 weeks into doing this, and I was like, okay, cool. Who wants to read? Like, I knew that this is what I wanted to do. I knew I wanted to implement this into my business, and I knew I could help people in such a beautiful way. And so I just threw myself out there. I just started posting on Instagram and sharing what I was learning, and posting on TikTok and sharing what I was learning. And I didn't give a fuck. And it's better to throw yourself out there and to not care about like what other people think. And I know that's easier said than done. But if you just hold off and like don't post the thing because you're afraid of what fucking Sandy from high school 10 years ago thinks about what you're posting, like, come on. Like, you're not going to get anywhere. Who cares? Literally, who cares? And if you do care, then that's like a self-image hole in your creator field, because you're feeling like it's not safe to show up as your true authentic self. Or you don't feel safe to speak your truth, right? And we've got to heal those things. And so that's why like people don't see the work that I did to heal that part of me before I started to throw myself out there on social media like that. Up until then, I was just full blown like Arbonne network marketing chick. Okay. And when I was in that business, I was grinding. I was hustling, man. Like I was working crazy hours. Like I always glued to my phone. I had no boundaries and I was posting every single day. And if I didn't post, I was freaking out. And mind you, like when I changed my business and really went full, like like both, like dove into the deep end of this work and dove into this business and went all in on myself. And I stopped doing like all of my little side jobs. Like I had an assistant job where I was like, answering somebody else's emails, and I had another virtual assistant job, and I had fitness, teaching fitness classes. Like I had all these little jobs. I eventually got rid of all of them. And when I went all in on myself, up until then, I was very much so focused on like healing my own shit and working through my own shit. And the self-image, self-love, like trauma healing start of the work that I was doing, that is what made me an even better intuitive, because I healed my own shit and I had so many tools under my belt that I had used to like help myself, so that I was able to take that and bring it into intuition and bring it into sessions. So, I mean, there was that aspect of it. And mind you, like, I do want to say that you don't need to be perfect. Like, your life doesn't need to be perfect to do this work. Like, in order to help people, like, you're always going to attract somebody who is like a past version of yourself. I have never gotten into a one-on-one session with somebody who was not in a situation that I hadn't been in my past, which is so crazy to think about, but also really cool. And I just know that like that's just how the universe works. Like you're never going to attract somebody who you cannot help in some way, shape, or form. And just because your life might not be quote unquote perfect in that exact moment doesn't mean that you're not helping other people when you have the intention to help other people. And so like, yeah, I did start in 2023. I think my business, my business opened in March of 2023. And I didn't have any idea what I was doing, but I used YouTube a lot to learn. I also hired a business coach. I also had Allie as my mentor, and I was taking her courses still and learning from her. Like, you need help. You can't just do this on your own. You can't just do this off of like downloading free things off of your favorite mentors. Like, you're going to have to invest in yourself and you're going to have to invest in your business. And that's just the way that the cookie crumbles. So, if you're not willing to do that, then you're probably not going to get the results that you're looking for. If you want somebody to invest $5,000 into you and what you're teaching, and you're not doing that yourself, like you're not investing in your mentor, how are you supposed, like, how does that make any sense? How can you expect that from somebody else if you're not doing that yourself? Right. So that's where the disconnect is too. That's where like an energetic disconnect is for sure with some people. So in my early days of like in network marketing, when I was just like hustling and going and working crazy hours and not setting any boundaries and all the things, I was also coming from a place of like, I was doing it because success equaled worthiness, right? When I'm successful, then I'll be worthy of love. Like I did this forever. Like I realized this about myself while I was like as I've been healing. I consistently would look into what I was doing, and I would hustle, 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 work, 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 work. And the reason that I was always chasing like success and always trying to be like the best version of me, it wasn't for me for a really long time. It was so that I could get approval from my dad. It's so that I could feel like I was wanted or enough for him to like be proud of. And I had to take my power back from that, because I don't know, like our relationship is good now, but it used to not be. But I also like just that's like a whole other story in and of itself. But with that being said, I gave him power over me, right? Like I wasn't doing things for myself. I was doing things for his approval. He never knew that. Like, I never voiced that to him, and I didn't even know that, right? So how could I voice it to him? But this realization was really big and a big part of my healing journey as well, because I had to learn how to take my power back from that, and I had to learn how to do it for me. And when I started doing it for me is when things started to shift, and I started doing things that were more aligned and all that jazz. When I first started like this work and this business, I was doing one-on-one sessions, and then the common theme that happened throughout my one-on-one sessions is what started my courses. So like if people really wanted to learn self-love and self-image work, then I made a self-love and self-image course called Glowed Up, which you can get in the show notes below. So I created that. And then people really loved learning about reflection. So I created Aligned AF and did like a whole little mini course on reflections. Then I would do master classes in, like, for instance, daddy issues is a master class that I'm holding. It'll be this Saturday at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, the 28th. But I'm doing that because there has been multiple clients of mine who have been struggling with their daddy issues. And I've also been going through like some new shifts when it comes to my own. So I want to share these things. I want to share these tools. I want to share these strategies. I want to share these mindset tips. And so that's how I create like the offers and stuff. Anything that I do and that I put out there comes from like a place of like, oh, I know, like like it was just like a feeling, like a knowing, an intuitive knowing that this is what the collective needs, because this is what I'm continuously helping my one-on-one clients with. So I'm going to create like a masterclass or a course so that multiple people can join and grab this all at once at a lower cost. When I started to do things that felt super aligned, that I didn't feel like, oh, well, so and so is doing, like, I stopped looking over the fence, right? And I stopped being like, oh, well, so and so is doing things this way. So and so is doing this way. So and so's doing, like, that's what was happening for a really long time. And once I stopped doing that and I started to listen to my intuition and do what felt most aligned, that's when things started to click. That's when things started to shift. That's when I started to make money. But also, like, I had a job, like a side job for a year and a half before I even started making money. And then I had like, the ups and the downs of entrepreneurship, and that's not easy, right? Like some months were like really good and other months were not really good. Some months I barely even had enough to cover my bills. But it was like I didn't care, but then I did care. Like it was very stressful, and it's just it's not an easy thing. Like I mentioned at the beginning of this podcast, but you've got to like hold on to your vision and your why. And there are many times where I wanted to throw in the towel, but I didn't, because I saw the bigger picture and I was like, what's more important? Or like choose your heart, right? Like I can go back to get a 9 to 5 job. That's going to be hard for me. Or I can continue what I'm doing and to like not give up. And that's also going to be hard for me. I chose the latter. I chose not to give up. And I'm so grateful that I didn't, because things are turning out better than I could have ever imagined, and then some. So don't give up, guys. Don't give up on your dreams, whatever you do. When my offers started to become more me, when I started to market myself in a way that was authentic to me, everything became more magnetic and less forced. And when I started to create boundaries and had boundaries and stood in those boundaries, business became easier. People respected me. They respected my time. They respected when they should and shouldn't reach out, because boundaries, they just knew. And that was really nice. I stopped chasing and I started attracting only when I took the success. I took my power back from my dad. I took him off the pedestal. I took success off the pedestal. I learned how to feel worthy simply for existing and for being myself. I learned how to love myself unconditionally from the inside out. And I just took the need of I need this to work off of the pedestal, right? Because when we're like so in our like needy energy, that's the opposite of magnetism, and nothing's going to get created from that space. If the want is high, kiss it goodbye. So if you want something a lot, like you're so obsessed with it, you are actually repelling it. Okay. So if you have this like thing that you're wanting to create or do, or you want it to make X amount of money, but you have this like super high want, you have it on a pedestal, you got to take that shit off the pedestal and get neutral about it. How do we get neutral about things? My favorite tool ever is to bring out that T chart. You've got a T chart. On one side, it's the positives, the other side is the negatives of having that thing. And you fill that out until you feel completely neutral about receiving or achieving the thing. So let's get into these four core, how many are there? Four, yeah. Four core energetic principles that I built my business on. Energy. Your business mirrors your frequency. So you won't attract what you want, you attract what you believe you are worthy of. Let me repeat that one more time. You don't attract what you want, you attract what you believe you are worthy of. So if you have a low self-worth, you're not going to attract what you think that you want. Because it's not about we don't get what we want, we get how we feel. And if we don't feel like we're worthy of getting what we want, we're not going to get what we want. So that's why this work, self-love and self-image work, is so, so important. Energy leaks. Okay. If you are people pleasing, if you are over delivering, then your income's going to be inconsistent. You're going to burn out and it's not good. The second principle is alignment. If it is not a fuck yes, then it is a no, period, end of story. Knowing also that alignment is not always easy, but it feels right, right? Like the higher self path isn't always the easier path, but it is the best path. So trust yourself there. If it feels like you have to do this, keep fucking going. Build offers around your gifts and your, like what you feel is most authentic to you, not trends. Don't look at what everyone else is doing. Do what feels the best for you. Number 3 is manifestation, right? I manifested through decision, not desperation, meaning I took everything off the pedestal and I created this from a neutral and balanced place. I learned how to hold the frequency of my desires before they were in my reality. I stepped into the frequency of that next level version of myself. I created the character that I talked about in our last episode, and I showed up as her every single day. I asked myself when I made choices, would my higher self make this decision? If it was a no, I wouldn't do it. If it was a yes, I would do it. If it gets the needle moving in the right direction, I do it. I practiced emotional regulation, nervous system work, and shifting my beliefs. If negative beliefs came up, I learned how to shift them right away. Nervous system work, meaning like if our emotions are super high, if we're super elated about something, that's just going to fuck up your manifestation. Like it's not going to bring it in. You're going to repel it. Okay. So learning how to breathe, learning how to meditate, learning how to do cord cutting meditations and like energy recovery is all so, so important when it comes to building a business, especially an intuition led business. And the fourth principle is action. We need 100% of the physical, just like we need 100% of the energetic. If you are taking aligned action, that is going to feel good and true to you. Do not try and force and push things that don't feel good to you. That's just going to create more burnout. I learned how to launch, promote, and sell things from intuition instead of fear. I just did what felt right instead of worrying about what anyone else was going to think about me. And I also remembered that in order for me to show up as my best self, I have to pour into myself. And if that meant resting, or if that meant taking a day off, or if that meant traveling, then I did those things. And I didn't beat myself up about it either. Before we leave and wrap up today's episode, I do want to chat with you about daddy issues. This Saturday, the 28th at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, I will be holding a little masterclass. It is going to be probably about an hour and a half, 75, 90 minutes long. Who knows, might go over. Knowing me, it probably will. But we're going to be going over the tools, the mindset shifts, and everything that I did to help me work through my daddy issues. And it's going to be a live masterclass held on Zoom with deep healing, coaching, and the tools, like I said, that I used to help me shift from resentful, angry, pissed off to neutral, forgiving, and letting go so that I can move forward and take my power back from the situation. There's going to be guided shadow work to help you let go and detach from this old identity of being somebody with quote unquote daddy issues, a potent, like very incredible energy recovery where we are going to take back all of the energetic light body that is missing from any situation, any experience that has ever made you feel less than enough. And of course, at the end, we are going to be doing a live Q&A to get your personal questions answered. I am super excited about this class. It's only $75. I don't want the price to be the reason that you say no. If you are feeling called to join, please do so. We are going over also like how my daddy issues affected my love life and my financial area of life. So if you are struggling in those two areas of life and you identify as somebody who has had daddy issues in your past, this is not going to be a masterclass that you want to miss. So I hope to see you inside. The deets for that are going to be in the show notes below. I am so excited to see you guys there. Excited for the girlies who've already decided to sign up. Thank you so much for listening to today's episode. I am so grateful for you. So grateful for you to be here and to be listening. Screenshot this, share it with a friend. If you're watching on YouTube, like and subscribe. I love you guys. And as always, we'll chat soon. Bye.